Hey guys, new moon and Taurus energy that we need to talk about today. We have the sun and the moon aligning at 18 degrees, 2 minutes of the sign of Taurus, May 7th to May 8th, depending where in the world you happen to be located. It's happening universal time at 3:23, which translates into 11:23 p.m. Eastern time on the 7th. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the baseline data of our new moon in Taurus that is playing out. Let's get into everything that this moon is likely to represent, and it really is, if there has ever been a cycle that is emblematic of a Taurus energy, you guys, like, this is it. There is such a huge emphasis on what we are growing and the potential value that that could equate to once we start moving through this energy. Goals, intentions, bringing your vision to life, dreams into reality, these are some very strong themes and potentials that are being vibrationally delivered to us in alignment with our new moon as it's coming together. Of course, this is happening in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is the sign of the builder. It is all about growth, about potential, about resources, and what we can do with those to build something material in our 3D world, earth sign that is stabilizing or securing or comforting or provides some type of abundance or some type of pleasure that we can indulge in. Taurus is a very sensory based sign. It has a lot to do with indulging the senses, but it's like primarily as an outcome of what we've built to give ourselves the opportunity to indulge in this energy. So money, you guys, partnerships, investments, work, projects, also a super potent creative impulse is coming through this Taurus cycle. It is the sign and the season of growth and growing and, the builder. But this year, as I said, it is so emblematic of the basic concepts of what a Taurus energy is all about, what the Taurus archetype is all about. Putting energy into what we are cultivating, very fertile grounds, and an almost instinctual drive to plant a seed, to create something, to fertilize something. The entire energetic field feels like a very fertile growing medium throughout the course of this cycle. And it's not only being indicated, of course, through this being Taurus season, but the aspects and the transits and the symbolism and what the energy is building towards in the context of the full moon transits and aspects and symbolism that is going to be coming up in a couple weeks as well. It is telling a very clear and thorough and defined story. It's giving a very specific formula in regards to how best to use the energy as we move through this cycle and what it is generally supporting and promoting. And that has everything to do with action and forward movement, growth, change, and the value that results from that, which is likely to be beyond our expectations or bringing some type of surprise or shock value with it somehow. Let's talk for a minute about the basic nature of the transits that we have playing out in alignment with our new moon chart. The symbolism is also extremely in alignment with the aspects and the energies that are manifesting themselves this new moon cycle as well. It is going to be a valuable time of unexpected growth and opportunities with a sprinkle of some flash bang gunpowder type of energy in there too. It's sort of giving powder keg vibes, like at any moment something could set something off type of thing. However, there's also good stuff that's on the way. Things are probably going to be better than we expected. These opportunities or gifts somehow that are leading to some type of growth that was not what was part of our original plan. I don't know, you guys. It's real interesting how energy is coming together. But as I said, let's talk. I want to list some of these transits that we have going on in association with the new moon. Of course, the new moon is ruled by Venus, who is in her home sign of Taurus for the new moon. Again, very pure Taurian energy that we have coming through. And she actually happens to be at 11 degrees of Taurus for the moment of our new moon, which is the Sabian symbol, a woman sprinkling long rows of flowers, just to go ahead and emphasize the fact that we are in a growing season and that what we are taking the time to cultivate, to nourish, to fertilize right now is likely to develop, blossom, grow and bloom into something that is perhaps in some way beyond our expectations. We also have the new moon itself happening in a conjunction to Uranus. This is not an exact conjunction, but it is within 5 degrees. And considering we have Jupiter in the picture as well, and we just had this very rare Jupiter-Uranus alignment that happened in the sign of Taurus, obviously this is going to be set off by this new moon. This whole month is going to be characterized by this Jupiterian Uranian energy that we've had going on in the sign of Taurus. Uranus's transit, you guys, through Taurus is going to awaken us to true value, true worth, true potential, and what needs to be done with it to set things right somehow in terms of the path of growth. Any distortions or inversions in the way that things have been going or growing essentially like across the board collectively, specifically in regards to true and authentic worth, value, and potential, is likely to get some type of reset over the course of this 7-year period where Uranus has been transiting the sign of Taurus. The epicenter of the 7-year transit of Uranus through Taurus happens to be now, because Jupiter, the planet of expansion and truth, and that just supersizes and amplifies everything, has been in a conjunction with Uranus. This won't happen again. This only happens every like 12 to 15 years or so, and it hasn't happened in the sign of Taurus since I believe it was the 1940s, early 1940s, 1941-ish. I'm pretty sure that was when the last Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happened in the sign of Taurus. And that conjunction back then also gave some very interesting results in terms of the realignments that it had that impacted the collective energy. And I've been saying, Taurus is also a very financial energy, and I do feel like there is some type of pending financial like revolution, huge financial transformations, things to do with currency, things to do with value, things to do with monetary systems and economies and markets, financial, this, that, and everything, like big business, inflation, like all that type of stuff, markets. I don't know if I said that or not, but cryptocurrency as well. Like there's likely to be, over the course of this month of May, again, it's being emphasized, things and changes, and maybe just an emphasis on or some type of an awareness surrounding the true value, maybe like of money or the prices of things, or I don't know, things to do, I don't know, something to do with money, value, and worth, and potential, and the flow of money and the value that it represents, somehow on the precipice of some type of dynamic change or shift in awareness that is going to alter our relationship to value, okay, and to the way that we're dealing with money and value in one way or another, either in our individual lives or on a more collective level. It's just being indicated, and it's again being indicated very much this month of May and this new moon cycle, with the new moon itself falling into a conjunction with Jupiter and Uranus, as they are in a separating conjunction after having just made their big conjunction last month in April. So that again is being activated. We also have another like interesting conjunction going on that is also putting an emphasis, a mental focus on perhaps themes of value and worth and what is truly meaningful. This is because we have Mercury, the messenger planet, ruling the mind in the sign of Aries right now in an exact conjunction with Chiron in the sky. And they're also at a very interesting degree, 22 degrees of Aries, where they are for the moment of our new moon. And that degree is the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. If you guys have been watching my channel, if you've been following along for a while, or, you know, at least since maybe this past new moon that we had in Aries, which was also the total solar eclipse, I've been saying we are in a time right now where we are being very supported and releasing ourselves from karmic cycles of the past. We are in a very unique energetic period of time right now as we are tipping the scales in our transition of ages in the age of into the age of Aquarius, from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And that is happening simultaneous to a generational shift in energy from the Capricorn generation to the Aquarian generation. Pluto's transit of the sign of Capricorn, now Pluto is approaching a 20-year transit through the sign of Aquarius, which is really going to redefine the collective energy over the course of the next 20 years. This generational age of Aquarius that is coming up over the next 20 years as Pluto transits Aquarius, I am perceiving as the rooting of the true age of Aquarius into our paradigm, into our reality, and the energy associated with that incoming age starting to permeate the 3D experience. As a result of that, we are going to one by one, you know, on a very individual basis over time, but really I feel extensively and noticeably and quite potently over the course of the next 20 years begin to step into and start reflecting on a, you know, of course, an individual level and a more collective level, a lot of the more archetypal Aquarian themes that are represented in the age of Aquarius. This is represented energetically through a decentralization of power and a removal of distortions in the energetic field that have disabled authentic expression and growth over quite a historical past period of time. Right now, as this 20-year period plays out, we're going to go through some very powerful collective transformations and awakenings and breakdowns in the authority and the control systems and the 3D matrix paradigm that has been supporting and really sort of like holding up the pillars that construct our perspective and perception of reality over our, honestly, like, recorded history, because we are leaving the age of Pisces and our recorded history is a creation of the age of Pisces energy for the most part. Okay, so a lot of what we have thought to be true based on the stories that we have told ourselves and the narratives that have been representative of our perception of the past, as we go into this new age of information, this new age of awareness, this new age of awakening to perhaps some higher truths and gain an awareness into, you know, the true cosmic nature of our reality, the true spiritual nature of our reality, the true universal nature of our reality, and humanity expands out into the cosmos, which will be a feature of the age of Aquarius energy as well. It's really going to redefine a lot of our perceptions of reality and those pillars and structures that the constructs of reality are built on. So, you know, this is not an overnight process, you guys, but we are now beginning to experience like the preliminary what's it called before an earthquake, tremor, the preliminary tremors of the way that the age of Aquarius energy is going to function, you know, moving forward when it picks up steam and 1,000 years or so. So we're just sort of at the brink, at the precipice, as we are beginning to be introduced to this energy. Our requirement for sort of like entrance is gaining the level of self-awareness that allows us to release ourselves from these cycles that have defined our past, that have kept us boxed in. Mars, actually, for this new moon is at 6 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a square with one side brightly lighted. There are creative solutions that are going to release us from the boxes that we have either knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously held ourselves in, that have diminished our potential or detached us from the truth of our purpose up until this point in time. You know, I talk about the transition of the age of Aquarius and us being at the precipice of that, about to step through, but that energy also is about this self-actualization, this self-knowledge, this self-awareness, and not being held down by a faulty self-perception that is centered around and attached to previous states of victimhood, or, you know, what's been done to us, and the trauma that's resulted, and the faulty subconscious programming that has kept us trapped in these loops and these patterns of perpetuating the same cycles over and over again, so that one day perhaps we can gain the awareness of why this is happening and what's going on with us in the deeper levels that is allowing these cycles to, you know, perpetuate, and what we need to do to rewire our own programming to get a different outcome in the interface that we call reality. This is where we're at right now. Like Mercury and Chiron, an exact conjunction, 22 degrees of Aries, the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires, the new moon cycle following the new moon in Aries. That was that total solar eclipse. The reason why I brought that up a minute ago, I don't even know if I followed through on that thought, is because these eclipses, that eclipse represented a major life-changing milestone. Destiny and karma, the past and the future, where we've been, where we're going, our ability to release ourselves from the attachments and the faulty programming of the past that has prevented us from discovering and moving towards that which we're truly here to do, become, perform. Universe has a purpose for all of us, right? We are not here unless there is a purpose. Our job is to figure out how we can best be the medium for that divine energy to flow through us. If we can do that, if we can be an embodiment of the channel through which we were created to be the streamlined mechanism for, the interface with the reality is going to be a reflection of something that is much more fulfilling, much more abundant, and honestly, like, much more positive and productive in terms of how the experiences in our life go and unfold. A lot of people in this world, you know, right now struggle and are suffering with depression and, you know, feeling lost, feeling purposeless. And that, I do feel like, from a higher level, is because universe actually right now is priming the collective to step into the path to finding that purpose. If you are feeling like that, it is exactly because there is a purpose that you are meant to be moving towards, that is meant to be moving through you. And if you're not doing that, if you're not aligned with that, if the way that you are maneuvering through your life is in opposition to that which universe would like to bring through you, of course it is going to create all types of like mental health issues. It's going to create all types of spiritual issues. It's going to create all types of health issues. And a lot of the energy that is manifesting right now in terms of these aspects, in terms of these transits, is for the purpose of either pushing us down to the point where we have no choice other than to start looking up, or rearranging things in our lives and taking us out of situations and taking people out of our lives and switching, you know, flipping everything on its head in order so that we have no choice but to start moving down the path that is going to activate that destiny and that potential. There are so many people right now that are, you know, lost, that are hopeless, that are lacking that meaning and that purpose. But I really think that on a higher energetic level, it's just because that is probably actually what is required in order to find the purpose at the end of the day, wisdom, true wisdom is born through suffering. And a lot of times we need to get pushed to our knees in order to figure out how to pick ourselves back up. And that is also what we are learning right now. We are learning how powerful we really are to be able to endure, to be able to overcome, and to become the leader in our own lives and experience. North Node in the sign of Aries, our own personal leadership era. I've been talking about it since last summer when the nodes entered Aries and Libra. It's time to break away from the pack, you guys, and to go in our own direction that supports our personal process of growth at this time. So it is a absolutely fantastic cycle, you guys, to give it your all, whatever it is. The energetic field, as I said, it is like this fertile growing medium. Intentions, ideas, visions, desires, especially those that are driven by our emotions, with this being a new moon, will manifest. So we definitely want to stay out of fears, but there is a positive Jupiterian influence going on right now, and the more faith and hope that we can have, the bigger and better and more blessed and lucky and fortunate things will go and grow for us as we move through this cycle. Focus on what you want to create and become. Be very intentional and have faith in your vision and yourself, as I've been talking about, as this conduit for a divine purpose. We are, and if you don't know what your purpose is, if you have no idea what you're supposed to be doing, whatever you are doing, do it to the best of your ability. Whatever, anywhere where you can be, creative, or anything that you're passionate about, or anything that you enjoy doing, do that. And there are opportunities coming with this as well. And especially as we move into next month, into the month of June, the whole field is going to open up, and there's going to be so many options, choices, decisions, motion, interactions, things going back and forth, and everything is going to be supporting great opportunities, very positive opportunities, and choices and decisions associated with them to be available to us. And that's what we're moving towards as we get into the month of June. So right now, this cycle does represent some type of breakthrough that is likely to come through, some type of an awakening that is helping us or giving us an opportunity to begin building this new world for ourselves, this new path for ourselves, or writing a new story for ourselves, authoring our lives and our new experiences in a much more consciously creative way moving forward. And that also is very supported by the Aquarian energy that is going to be coming in over this next 20 years. We are going to find more and more and more so as we move through the next couple of decades, that the more intentional and the more conscious that we can be about creating the scenarios and the situations in our lives, the more control, the more things seem to go according to our plans. The past energy that we're moving out of has been a very unconscious energy, and the very faulty subconscious programming that I was talking about a few minutes ago had a lot to do with us projecting our experiences into reality and then interfacing with them instead of consciously choosing the direction of our experiences. Now, of course, there are always people who know how to work with the reality and who are always conscious and intentional about manifestation, but in large, I would say the collective generally has been operating from a more unconscious and subconscious place. But I do feel like that's going to change as we move through this period of time. One hand, because, like I said, the authority that maintain the structures in the past is going to break down. So we're going to have to sort of figure things out on our own. And a part of our process of developing effective systems and this decentralized authority and power energy is going to, I think, have to do with learning to use our mind and our consciousness more intentionally, and how that functions in terms of translating into the co-creation, actually, of our experiences. That's self-actualization, co-creation. Both of these things are emblematic of the Aquarian age that we're moving into. So if you want to start working with that energy now, it is right there tingling at our fingertips, and this new moon is very supportive of our ability to do that. Of course, choosing forgiveness, transcendence, and release from attachment to the past is going to be imperative in this process if we want to begin using the magic of this new reality coming in, specifically our pain and relationship wounds. South node in the sign of Libra, relationship karma. We are graduating from that if we can literally just let it go. If we can choose forgiveness, if we can see, the painful things that have happened to us in the past, specifically, maybe at the hand of other people, and acknowledge it. It's not that we ignore or like push down our issues or our traumas or our wound or our pain. Like, that's the opposite of what I'm actually talking about. I'm talking about gaining a level of awareness and awakening where we can actually transcend our suffering and release ourselves from states of victimhood through a sense of forgiveness on one hand, but also this greater sense of awareness and understanding that we received something very, very powerful and transformative through whatever painful experiences that we went through, and that they helped us to elevate, to gain a level of self-mastery, wisdom through suffering that we wouldn't have gained otherwise, which then translates into power as a result of the awareness that helps us to begin to consciously create our reality instead of creating our reality through the subconscious projections associated with the faulty subconscious programming from the unhealed wounds and traumas within us from the past. It's all about our perspective. It's all about our mental frame. It's all about how we are choosing to see things. We can choose to see ourselves as a victim for the rest of our lives because of horrible things that happened to us at some point along the way, and that's real. If that's the case and you can't separate yourself from your trauma and it had such a big impact that you feel that it needs to define the rest of your life and experience, then that is a thing, that is valid. However, even though that's valid, you have to realize that if you're going to wear that identity, then that is your identity, which means that's your programming, which means you're trapped in that. Okay. And if you want to experience an elevated level of like life and the ability to live outside of that box, then you have to drop that identity associated with that state of victimhood. Now, that doesn't negate the things that happened, but we can choose to see the positive power, that's what I like to call it, the positive end of, whatever negative situations could have happened. Suffering does not occur without some seed of wisdom that is the necessary outcome of whatever that process brought us through. We can use that wisdom to empower ourselves to make different choices and different decisions going forward, and to no longer choose situations that would reflect or perpetuate the states of victimhood, because we gain the awareness of how we got into that in the first place. Sometimes we're just born into it karmically, but we do not have to choose to perpetuate that cycle, of course, once we get to an age and a point where we are free to make our own choices and decisions. And so if you're going to continue to identify with your states of victimhood, that's fine, but you wear the bondage of the identity associated with that experience. That is your programming, and you become captive to that, and it diminishes the ability to create consciously, all right, what it is that is truly fulfilling on the soul levels. We don't go through these painful experiences so that we can sit in them forever. We go through them so that we can transmute, alchemize, transcend, graduate, and that can have defined a certain part of our experience in our lives, but not the entirety of it. We've got to move on. We've got to have different experiences. We've got to go up the rungs on the spiral that are helping our soul to evolve, and staying staying attached to any type of, you know, trauma or unhealed wound or things that have happened to us in the past. While there may be a level of intention that people also gain from it, that is the holdover energy from the age of Pisces, and it is just not going to be supported moving forward. Sooner or later, we're all going to have to go through this process anyway. So my recommendation is to just go ahead in this really beautiful energy that we have right now and decide to choose forgiveness, to choose release, to, if you need to slam the door, don't look back, because the past no longer defines the future. And that is another defining characteristic of this 2024 year and the energy we're moving through now. Our ability to reprogram our lives as a result of us reprogramming our minds and healing these old wounds is directly related to our path of pending soul fulfillment that this next chapter really can represent. Remember, Mercury and Chiron, 22 degrees of Aries for this new moon that is all about big time growth, the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. Again, we're talking about a garden. We had Venus at 11 Taurus ruling the cycle, a woman sprinkling long rows of flowers, talking about a garden, talking about growth. And we actually have the position of the new moon itself coming in at the Sabian symbol of 19 degrees of Taurus. We always round up when we're looking at Sabian symbols. We read the energy coming in, not the energy that's like waning out and dissipating. That Sabian symbol where the new moon itself is a continent is seen rising out of the ocean, literally creating the new world. It's so funny too, because Pluto just stationed retrograde, and when I was like thinking of what I was going to name that video and like just the general vibe of it, because Pluto, this is the last Pluto retrograde backing into Capricorn before Pluto like really digs in for the 20-year Aquarius transit that I've been talking about in circles in this video. And that vibe, like this Pluto retrograde really, to me, is giving the notion of bringing down like the end of the old world. Like, I do think we're gonna see a lot of things from the past paradigm begin to just organically find their end, break down, begin to crumble. The foundations of power and control from the past, this deregulation of things, this decentralization of power, the breakdown in authority. I think that we're going to begin to tangibly see a lot of that occurring in our 3D reality throughout the course of Pluto's retrograde through the sign of Aquarius, which I talked about, or through the sign of, back into the sign of Capricorn, which I talked about in my last video. And I named it The End of the Old World, or I think I put that in the title somewhere, because like I do feel like that's what it's giving. And then literally, that happened on the 2nd. On the 8th now, 7th to the 8th, we have this new moon going on, and it's happening at a new continent is seen rising from the ocean, which is like, that is giving new world, right? Like this new landmass, and that's shocking too, a new continent rising out of the ocean. Like, that is probably one of the most unexpected things imaginable, and that is totally in alignment with the vibe of this new moon itself. The conjunction to Uranus and the sign of Taurus, that would be Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus, like that would be like, oh, there's suddenly a new continent in the middle of the ocean that we never knew was there. Like, it really is giving new world vibes big time. And that degree, especially with the Pluto retrograde, like that is quite synchronistic and magical to me. And then literally the woman sprinkling long rows of flowers and Chiron conjunction Mercury, the messenger, our mind, the shift in focus. It's literally like all we need to do is shift our mind to a state of, like what I was just talking about, this ability to let go of some things, to freaking like move on, to let it go, to leave the past in the past. We don't have to like it. We don't have to interact with it. We don't even need to. The more that we dwell on it, the more that we remember it, the more that we ingrain it in our energy body, and it defines who we are, and it defines our reality, and it defines our future. Like, it's time to slam the door. And all of this Mars energy too, which I haven't even gotten to yet in all of my rambling today. This is also like burning bridges, burning it down energy, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like this is like putting up in flames exactly that which has been preventing us from being able to move forward in some type of a new productive positive direction. It's like burning down the past chapters that have been disorienting and distorting our view of ourselves and our resources and our potential and our worth, as we are awakening to some true worth or true value or our ability to heal, learning how to heal, gaining this awareness that is unlocking these keys to the garden of the gate of the garden of all fulfilled desires, like where we're moving and our ability being right on the precipice of something that is going to be so much more fulfilling and such a more authentic and true reflection of our divine purpose and why we're really here, and therefore that, you know, makes our heart smile and fills us up and is like the true embodiment of like joy and positivity and love and like all that happy stuff in our experience. We're getting put on a path in that direction, but it requires the healing. And when we're talking about the Chiron element, nobody can do it for us. This Taurus energy too, this is all about the hard work. And then we've got the Mars energy, which swear I'm going to get to in a minute. This is the motivation and the drive and like the self-focus. Like we have to do it ourselves. Like we have to take ownership of our lives, of our situation. We need to stop the self-sabotaging patterns. We need to gain the self-awareness. We need to figure it out, and we need to make the choice to do something different. We need to do the hard work. We need to be a self-fulfilling prophecy for the better, for a change in our own experience, and we can do it. This is the time. If there has ever been a prime time for that type of thing, today is the day. This is the month. This is the cycle. This is the year. And it's not, if you miss, you know, no FOMO, there's no fear of missing out here. This is the energy moving forward through the next 20 years. So if you want to get in on it early, welcome to my channel, you guys. That's what we do here. But a lot of people aren't going to be, you know, a lot of people are going to be carrying on business as usual, even though I guarantee under the surface, maybe deep under the surface, there are changes that are going on. And with the Uranian influence, you know, things are likely to be sudden, shocking, unexpected somehow. But I'm telling you, hard work pays off. We get big time rewards from the efforts that we put in this cycle. The payoff is going to be very valuable. It's going to be very worth it. We need to do the work. We need to take the lessons. We need to be personally accountable, okay? And if we can do that, we are going to set ourselves up for success moving into this new era as this new continent rises, as we're watering our garden, right? As we're stepping through the gate of all fulfilled desires, extracting wisdom and power from the pain and using it to fuel growth and change going forward. I also think with this, that long suffering is being karmically balanced right now, somehow translating also into maybe a valuable or beneficial experience. Look for the silver lining in things. We've got so much Uranian energy. That's another thing Uranus does. It brings blessings in disguise. It brings silver linings. A lot of times it's the lightning striking the tower, but a lot of times when we're dealing with the Uranian energy, we don't realize until we've gotten down the line how good for us that really uncomfortable, unsettling thing that happened really was. So don't immediately jump to conclusions that the big shakeups that are happening now, even if they're disturbing the peace, even if they're uncomfortable, don't immediately think that they're bad or that they're for the worst, because they're not. I'm telling you, everybody right now, whatever's going on, like, is going to find meaning, purpose, and value in the situations and scenarios that are playing out right now. Again, big opportunities are going to come from a lot of things that are happening right now. And now let's get into talking about some of this Martian energy, because we also have some very, very fired up, hot, perhaps like aggressive energy that is likely to play out over this new moon cycle. We have Mars in the sign of Aries, moving towards the North Node, line drive to the North Node. The North Node is this future-focused, destiny-oriented energy that can really like compulsively and impulsively move us forward. A lot of people are going to be taking very impulsive, unthought out actions, just sort of darting ahead that could be self-sabotaging on one level, but we have to remember, even people's lack of self-control that could get them in trouble or could start fights or conflicts in this energy with the Chiron dominant themes going on right now, those too are a catalyst for some type of lesson or awakening or growth that is putting people on a trajectory to where they need to be right now. So even the more like not so great situations that might be playing out, or where maybe we are being our own worst enemy in this energy, or there's embroiled in conflicts and fights and stuff like that, there is still likely to be some type of opportunity or a blessing or something valuable or a level of awakening or awareness that comes through the process somehow. So we are not attaching negatively to things right now, generally, even if they appear that way. That being said, enhanced potential for anger, aggression, violence, war, destructive acts of all kinds, very driven, passionate, assertive, courageous, motivated energy. It feels like the chase, okay, or the pursuit of something when I'm feeling the way that the Mars vibe is coming through right now. As I said, Mars moving towards the North Node, that is sort of like an uncontrollable fervor to move forward. And also in the very next sign, who do we have? We have Venus in the sign of Taurus and all of her brilliance and beauty and sensuality over there. So there is this, the masculine energy within all of us is likely to be like on the hunt, on the pursuit, like very passionately driven forward towards something. People very motivated to pursue and go after what they want, or in the pursuit, in the chase of their desires in ways that are more pronounced and triggering greater levels of action than normal, perhaps wanting to achieve an outcome to the point of being willing to fight for it and not back down. That is one reason we are likely to see an uptick in the fights, the aggression, sort of maybe like war drums and stuff going on right now. On one hand, this is a good thing because it's fueling the creative impulse underway. We have Mars in Aries, we have Venus in Taurus, masculine and the feminine in their home signs, in their full creative ability and potential, with Mars behind Venus. Like, this energy wants to create, it wants to fertilize, it wants to conceive. And then we've got this Jupiterian energy coming through as well, and the Uranian energy, things being done right, things being put right. It is motivating us to work towards achieving our goals with a sense of fervor and might that may be lacking under different energetic circumstances. So use it for that, receive exceptional results for your effort. On the other hand, this energy misdirected can cause damage, conflict, general self-sabotage, as I was mentioning earlier, that could initiate this process of self-discovery, leading eventually to self-awareness and the ability to direct our energy more productively moving forward. So, as I was saying earlier, there are lessons to be gained even in our missteps in this energy that will benefit us going forward and maybe producing more growth than we could have imagined. Love and money are very highlighted in this as well for all of these big changes and transformations underway. The symbolism is accentuating that. Uranus is at 23 degrees of Taurus, a jewelry shop filled with valuable gems. And we have Jupiter at 26 Taurus, a Spaniard serenading his senorita. Both of these could not be more Venetian Taurian vibes, all about value, worth, wealth, right? Abundance that is real and present. A jewelry shop filled with valuable gems, awakening suddenly, shockingly perhaps, to our gifts, to our worth, our talents, our valuable resources we hold inside, and our ability to create with them. Jupiter, the Spaniard serenading his senorita. Love, relationships, desires, going after what we really want, creatively pursuing something as well. And it is all very beautiful, you guys. And these are the flowers that are being sprinkled in the degree where Venus herself is. But I also need to say there are a few little caution flags that we should be aware of as we move through the month with the Taurus Jupiter energy specifically. overindulgence, overpromising, overvaluing, overestimating, overinflating, overcommitting, overspending, overdoing generally in all types of ways. Don't let yourself do it. Don't let yourself get carried away with grandiosity and with any type of maybe like overindulgence and pleasures. The temptation is probably going to be very strong, and there's probably going to be lots of opportunities to go overboard with some things, and that's just generally a way that this energy can manifest, and there could be lessons associated with that as well. So just something to be aware of. This energy could also present as people being like very very stubborn about things, like not wanting to budge, being very bullheaded in their nature with the strong Taurian, Jupiterian, Venus in Taurus, Sun in Taurus, Moon in Taurus energy right now. This is a very solid, stagnant, fixed energy, and especially with the Aries North Node Mercury energy right now, this is sort of like get out of my way, like I'm doing something, I'm moving somewhere, I'm in pursuit of something, and I do not have the patience and I am not willing to bend. So this could be something that could be coming up with some people out there, and where it does surface though, you can be almost sure that there will be some seemingly universal force that will force movement or change or break up that stagnation, create a necessary shift somehow, or just introduce some type of novelty into the situation that makes that stagnancy impossible to perpetuate going forward somehow. So things are going to change whether or not people are resisting what's happening. So, if somebody won't budge on something and, you feel that they need to, the best thing to do is probably just to step out of the way and let some time go by. And over the course of the month, there's likely to be something that just happens that makes it necessary for that stubborn attitude or that fixed position to shift somehow, regardless of whether it is something that we are comfortable with or want or desire. Uranus makes the changes for us that we have not been able to make for ourselves. So that is probably going to be manifesting and going on as well, breaking through resistance and creating change in long, fixed or stagnant situations that do result in some liberation from something. Forward movement and momentum, growth, change and value this cycle. Another thing that I want to say with Mars in the sign of Aries right now, also Mercury and Chiron together in Aries, the North Node there, it's very, and all this Taurus energy that we have going on, it's very important right now to move your physical body, especially if you've been kind of sedentary or inactive for a while or for any kind of extensive period of time. Get moving, be in physical motion, be physically active. There could be a lot of like healing that comes through movement right now with all the Aries energy and all the Taurus energy. The Aries energy is pushing to break up stagnation. Walk, run, bike. It doesn't have to be like super vigorous, but just the motion and the activity and moving the body, especially in a forward direction and, on our own feet. Even if it's not, even if it's just for a couple of minutes a day, I do think that it will bring a level of healing and revitalization, because that's literally working with the energy right now through your physical activity, which Mars would very much appreciate. If you are regularly active, if you do work out, if you do stay active and stuff, this is a really, really good time to push yourself physically to make gains somehow, change up your workout, do more cardio while Mars is in the sign of Aries, add more weight, research like maybe some more or just different effective routines or techniques that are helping you to achieve some type of goal or outcome. Major physical gains can be made for sure in the energy that we have going on right now. Anything to do with improving the physical physique or the physical body or beauty or appearance is very, very divinely supported right now. now, as we are being asked to recreate ourselves, right? That's something that is another theme that is involved in everything that's going on right now. We're being asked to up level. We're being asked to go through like these glow ups. We're being asked to recreate ourselves. And as a reward for that, the efforts that we do put into recreating ourselves as a reflection of who we want to grow into next, or maybe, you know, some ideal that we've been striving towards or something like that, the more we strive to achieve our goal, even in terms of our physical appearance or our physical aptitude and our physical well-being and stuff like that, very, very supported in positive, successful outcomes along those lines as well. Energy is supporting us to become our best self, our biggest and most beautiful, you know, version, however that is. If we are willing to be self-focused, if we are willing to be accountable, if we are willing to be honest with ourselves and do the work to achieve the outcome, the results will be better than anticipated. This cycle is about these blessings that are coming through and positive growth, but it also requires work. Taurus is a sign of the builder. We have all this driven Mars energy. If you're not doing the work, you're going to implode. Like, people are going to just totally destroy themselves and their lives if they're not channeling the work into recreating themselves in a way that is upgraded, evolved, like up-leveled somehow. We have very much support in doing that. Healing, growth, and change, releasing the past, embracing the future, having faith, being willing to do the work. Taurus 11, Venus at 11 Taurus, women sprinkling long rows of flowers, the new moon at 19 Taurus, a new continent rising from the ocean, Chiron and Mars together at 22 Aries, the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. We can do this, you guys. This is how we lay the new foundations and plant the seeds that will grow into this new world and the new legacies that are associated with our generations going forward, that we are creating now as we navigate and manifest this shift of the ages in our transition into the age of Aquarius. Couple last notes: financial markets, resources, assets, economies, food, alliances, sudden changes along those lines, highly likely during this period of time. Also, weather, bad weather, sudden storms, weather anomalies, lightning, tornadoes, earthquakes, just strong storms generally. Also, heat and fires could be things that we see as we move through this Taurus cycle. So that's what I gotta say, you guys. Should be a interesting time of year. It's our new moon cycle that is in a conjunction to Uranus, so that's always a fun time. Let's get a piece of guidance or advice right now for our upcoming couple of weeks here. What do we need to know? What should we sort of use as a mantra as we go through this period of time? What does it benefit us to tell ourselves? What advice will be helpful in our journey through time? Must be a very specific card because it's not coming out. Oh, there it is. It says forgive. Mercury conjunct Chiron. For this new moon cycle, all about growth, our ability to transcend the things that have happened to us in the past is literally our key and our golden ticket into creating a new life that will be void of all of those experiences and will set us on a trajectory for something that is so much more fulfilling moving forward. Forgive. Be not afraid for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. Psalms 91. You are in the dark when you indulge in depression, feeling sorry for yourself, anger, or ill will. When you condemn yourself or others, these are the pestilences of darkness. Anger towards others reflects your emotionally charged state. You violate the law of harmony and it will bring you trouble. Forgive yourself and others and hail God in your midst to heal your anger. Pray, thank you, God, for removing my anger. Anger is something that people are going to be dealing with this cycle, like I was saying, but the anger itself is also a catalyst for these lessons that ultimately lead to the healing, the transcendence, the release, and the forgiveness of the past, which sets us free to create a new reality where we don't have to deal with this stuff anymore. So that's what we're doing, you guys. Forgiveness is the key this cycle, literally the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. You got the key. All you got to do, open the gate, decide that everything before now only served the purpose to make you who you are and to give you the power to create what is coming next. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys, about our new moon in Taurus. Very, very, very special time that we are in right now. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would also be into this type of astrology content. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence here. Thank you guys so much for your feedback. I love knowing what is going on with you out there. If you're having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, that is valuable to me. Please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what is on this whiteboard, I post pictures of it in my description box that is below. No, I don't. I post pictures of it in a Facebook group I have that is linked in my description box below. Come back with me, you guys, on, what is today? Wednesday. On Friday, we will have our weekend overview to go over, and we're going to have a lot more astrology to get into then. Prayers to Jana Shalman. She's the creator of our synchronicity card. She's been going through some health issues. I love you so much, Jana. Praying so much for a speedy recovery for you. And I will see you guys on Friday. Have a beautiful new moon, everyone. And until then, bye, guys.